For example 2, we're going to look at solving cosine of x minus radical 2 equals negative cosine of x. And you're going to treat this the same way you might have treated a problem like this back when you were in pre-algebra. If I asked you guys to solve something like that, you'd have no problem knowing to get all the a's on one side and then get the a all by itself with the exact same steps. It's just going to look a lot weirder because the numbers are a little bit less familiar to us. But I was also, my first job is always to try to get all the trig functions together on one side so I can isolate them. And I was taught as a kid to try and keep my, whatever I'm trying to isolate, keep it positive at all costs, because it's really easy to screw up minus signs. So even though it's going to take me a few more steps, I'm going to start off by adding cosine of x to both sides. You don't have to start off that way if you don't want to. You can start by subtracting cosine from both sides. It doesn't really matter. We just need to get all the cosines on one side together. So now that I got all the cosines on one side together, I'm going to go ahead and isolate it by adding a root 2 to both sides. Just doing order of operations in reverse. And then, of course, to finally get the cosine by itself, we'll divide both sides by 2. And I've done it. I want to figure out when the cosine of x is equal to root 2 over 2. So here's what I'm bringing to the table. I know that cosine is like the horizontal component, right? It's like the x value. And I know that this is related to a pi over 4 reference angle. So what I'm picturing in my brain is a unit circle where the horizontal component is root 2 over 2. So it's kind of like this. And there's two different triangles that I could definitely draw off of that shape. I can draw this one with a pi over 4 reference angle, or this one with a pi over 4 reference angle. So that means that x is either equal to pi over 4, or there's a couple ways you can represent this angle. You could subtract pi over 4 from 2 pi and get 7 pi over 4 if you want to, or you could call it, if you want to call it negative pi over 4, you could do that as well. That's fine. It's up to you. It doesn't make a difference. I just want that 4 to look a little better. But then we also have to keep in mind that not only is pi over 4 an answer, but if I go all the way around and add a full rotation, that's an answer. If I go around 5 times and there, that's an answer. So any multiple of 2 pi that I add to this or subtract from this is going to be an answer. Likewise, I can add 2 pi into this. I had said in the previous video we talk about what happens when they're in a specified range. We'll do that on another day. In fact, I think today's homework is just to find all the answers between 0 and 2 pi. So we may not even need to do this part yet. I just want you guys thinking about it. Another thing I'm going to add for this particular problem is if you're looking at the solution and you're wondering, Mr. Depsic, is it okay if I write my answer as x equals plus or minus pi over 4 plus 2 pi n? That is absolutely okay. Now, at the end of the day, when you guys are trying these yourselves and you're feeling stuck, what I want you to keep in mind is that we're going to first isolate a trig function. Then we're going to use our knowledge of how the trig functions work and the special right triangles to figure out all possible angles that might give us that as a solution. I'm going to do, I think, one more example that might involve some factoring, and then I think you guys should be in good shape until Friday. But if not, I do have office hours on Thursday, and of course you're always welcome to email me too.